99 Inspirational Barack Obama quotes on life, hope, and change. Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. A change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. We are the change we have been waiting for. In the unlikely story that is America, there has never been anything false about hope. In the face of impossible odds, people who love this country can change it. If you're walking down the right path and you are willing to keep walking, eventually you'll make progress. We don't ask you to believe in our ability to bring change, rather, we ask you to believe in yours. It's important to make sure that we're talking with each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself, and it will leave you unfulfilled. Nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions of voices calling for change. The worst thing that colonialism did was to cloud our view of our past. Our stories may be singular, but our destination is shared. Enthusiasm makes up for a host of deficiencies. You can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. While we breathe, we will hope. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. My identity might begin with the fact of my race, but it couldn't end there. At least that's what I would choose to believe. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up. You might be locked in a world not of your own making, her eyes said, but you still have a claim on how it is shaped. You still have responsibilities. We may not be able to stop evil in the world, but how we treat one another is entirely up to us. We will outstretch the hand if you unclench your fist. I think perhaps education doesn't do us much good unless it is mixed with sweat. Change is never easy, but always possible. It's only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. Cynicism is a sorry kind of wisdom. There is no excuse for not trying. At the moment that we persuade a child, any child, to cross that threshold, that magic threshold into a library, we change their lives forever, for the better. Each of us deserves the freedom to pursue our own version of happiness. No one deserves to be bullied. Each path to knowledge involves different rules, and these rules are not interchangeable. We may come from different places and have different stories, but we share common hopes, and one very American dream. For we know that our patchwork heritage is a strength, not a weakness. This shit would be really interesting if we weren't in the middle of it. Where there is no experience, the wise man is silent. Reading is important. If you know how to read, then the whole world opens up to you. Have you ever noticed that if there's a hard way and an easy way, you choose the hard way every time? Why do you think that is? To be black was to be the beneficiary of a great inheritance, a special destiny, glorious burdens that only we were strong enough to bear. It was as if he had come to mistrust words somehow. Words, and the sentiments words carried. Religious freedom doesn't mean you can force others to live by your own beliefs. I stand here today humbled by the task before us, grateful for the trust you have bestowed, mindful of the sacrifices borne by our ancestors. I realized that in some unspoken, still tentative way, she and I were already becoming a family. Change won't come from the top, change will come from mobilized grassroots. Don't let your failures define you. There is no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. Whatever you do won't be enough, I heard their voices say. Try anyway. Be conscious of God and speak always the truth. We are a people of improbable hope. If they bring a knife to the fight, we bring a gun. Our values call upon us to care about the lives of people we will never meet. Values are faithfully applied to the facts before us, while ideology overrides whatever facts call theory into question. When I was a kid, I inhaled frequently. That was the point. Doubtful of what we can achieve to put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day. God sees the world through the eyes of those most oppressed. Look at yourself before you pass judgment. Don't make someone else clean up your mess. I had nothing to escape from except my own inner doubt. I know that she was the kindest, most generous spirit I have ever known, and that what is best in me I owe to her. Today we begin in earnest the work of making sure that the world we leave our children is just a little bit better than the one we inhabit today. What matters is how well we have loved. What I would say to my successor is that it is important not just to shoot but to aim. I've been fighting with Acorn, alongside Acorn, on issues you care about, my entire career. What binds us together is greater than what drives us apart. The words have been spoken during rising tides of prosperity and the still waters of peace. Yet every so often, the oath is taken amidst gathering clouds and raging storms. Where once I felt the need to live up to his expectations, I now felt as if I had to make up for all his mistakes. How you could build power not by putting others down but by lifting them up. In return, I gave him a sounding board for his frustrations. Go read a book, she would say. Then come back and tell me something you learned. But it's just that he is basically a very honest person. That makes him uncompromising sometimes. I only know what I have seen. What I have not seen doesn't make my heart heavy. Trying to trace out my future in the lives of the people. I noticed that my mother paid for her intellectual freedom with chronic financial struggles and occasional personal chaos. The road we have taken to this point has not been easy, but then again the road to change never is. We now live in a world where the most valuable skill you can sell is knowledge. We need to internalize this idea of excellence. Not many folks spend a lot of time trying to be excellent. Listen to understand rather than listen to respond. They spend half their lives worrying about what white folks think. Strange how a single conversation can change you. Or maybe it only seems that way in retrospect. No one is exempt from the call to find common ground. The worlds that they thought they'd left behind reclaimed each of them. I occupied the place where their dreams had been. What's certain is that I don't need the stress. Sometimes you can't worry about hurt. Sometimes you worry only about getting where you have to go. People with disabilities deserve the chance to build a life for themselves in the communities where they choose to live. I was tempted to exit my perch, make my way down the aisle, and smack the guy in the head. Money is not the only answer, but it makes a difference. The trick is not caring that it hurts. I knew a time would come when I would disappoint them, falling short of the image that my campaign and I had helped to construct. Rather than subsidize the past, we should invest in the future. We say we value the legacy we leave the next generation and then saddle that generation with mountains of debt. We must act, knowing that our work will be imperfect. In the hands of the shrewd and the ruthless, chaos had proven a gift. Confidence, the secret to a man's success. We did not come here to fear the future. We came here to shape it. Still, I strongly resisted the idea of offering up my past in a book, a past that left me feeling exposed, even slightly ashamed. I try never to get too high when things are going well. I try never to get too low when things are going poorly. I try to keep an even keel. I was impatient in those days, busy with work and unrealized plans, and prone to see other people as unnecessary distractions. Unfortunately, too many of our schools depend on inexperienced teachers with little training in the subjects they're teaching, and too often those teachers are concentrated in already struggling schools. The idea that our common humanity mattered more than our differences was stitched into my DNA. The idea that our common humanity mattered more than our differences was stitched into my DNA. None of these will come easy.